At the parish office, the phone started ringing. People started walking into my office saying those beautiful words, "We have a new pope." And it was so exciting. It captured the rest of the day. And we had to wait, as often we do, if anything Italian, we had to wait on them to get ready in their casual way and to finally find out who would walk out on that balcony and be now the succession of Peter, our leader in the world. And lo and behold, something happened that my wise monsignors from here in North Carolina had told me over and over in these past months wouldn't happen. They said it'll never be anyone from America because we're not seen in that light. Isn't that something? Because of our power and privilege. They never thought they would see an American pope to be able to convince the other cardinals. And yet here comes. And I heard that announcement in the Latin and Italian first, and Roberto, and I didn't catch the last name, but he was the only one on my little list. I said, oh, they're going to be happy in Chicago. And it was so heartfelt. And now we step into this, what's possible for all of us, and especially I hope for our young people, that they know this connection to the very church that they're being formed in is both universal and local. And for all of us, it's this time to renew our own commitment to the work of the church in the world, which was just expressed in the gospel. Love one another. And we know from our experience of love that to be loving takes everything. It's a constant ask for more and to give more. And that's that magic that we witnessed when Pope Leo XIV walked out onto that balcony. And we had the beautiful camera shots of him. It was like you were there. And he stood out and saw the crowd in St. Peter's Square. And you saw a person give everything. I hope in your deep relationships of love, you know that inner struggle that we all have. Parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, spouses, friends of deep consequences, right? That we do love and give everything to the people we care for, but the truth is our human nature, our weakness, we hold a little bit back. We hold a little bit back every time for ourselves. Often I hear that cry from parents in the midst of raising young children, "Oh, it's so exhausting, Father. When am I getting a vacation? Do I have to take these children with me?" So yes, when is it our turn? Because we have inside of us that constant, work to quiet the voice of what about me? And here's this person with his roots from our own country who became a priest like some of us, and we pledged and gave our life away. We laid on the floor. But the truth is we still hold a little bit back. That nature, we do. We'll hold it back. Well, I want my Tuesday off. I want to go fishing. But we know that he gave his life away as a priest, a friar of the Augustinian order, and then as a bishop stepped even more when he was called to Peru and made a bishop that he had to give a little more away, and then moved to another place and brought to Rome and had to give a little more away. Recently made a cardinal by Pope Francis, he gave a little bit more away. But when we witnessed him on the balcony last week and saw in that moment, he was just like now the perfect parent, the perfect brother, the perfect sister and friend. He knew, and you could feel something about that whole moment, that he was giving everything away. I was told by a person who's worked in Rome a long time that even for the Pope, even his bathroom breaks are scheduled. there's not time for him now to say, what about me? They will take care of what his health and his spirit, but he's given now everything. And so it's important for us to know something about him, and it'll take time. Just like anytime someone super important comes into our life, it's the time to open up and get to know them wholly. And I want to share just my experience with Augustinians, this order of which he has spent his life in Christ in, because I think it'll help us. I think it'll help us understand his leadership style and how, like, all of us are different, but he is formed by a religious community. They are mendicant, which means, unlike the Benedictine religious orders, remember the Benedictines always got together and had a farm and made things to help support themselves. Fruitcake comes to mind. The orders that are mendicant are not like that. They are completely dependent on the support of the people. So our new pope doesn't come from a religious order that sells fudge or ale or anything, but always supported in simplicity by the people they are serving. And they, as a order, try to avoid things like trust funds and foundations and living off the interest to support something. But no, the constant response from the people you serve to keep you accountable for the works of God and love that you do. And so they don't have that many big universities and centers of learning, because often those turn into places of endowments and trust. And it's not quite the mendicant way. And yet they want to preach and teach everything about the philosophy of God's love. From Plato, who then St. Augustine followed and gave to the church in such great giftedness. And because of their philosophy, they are deeply attached to the teachings and the unfolding of God's love of Thomas Aquinas. So you have Plato, Aristotle, all now with Augustine and St. Thomas Aquinas formed in this now our new Pope. So he is richly blessed in formation about philosophy, which is what? The study of life itself. And then theology, the study of love and this God that we have. So which means what? The big picture, I really feel, is secure. But in this Augustinian way of walking with the poor, he has been a missionary bishop in Peru and was greatly revered for the work. Because he walked with the people, became one of the people, even has now a Peru passport. Showing that he gave some of that life away, this comfort of all America, to be part of them. And so this real way of looking at the world might be new for us, I think, if we didn't know more about the Augustinians. Because the Augustinians are going to look at a problem to be solved, a conflict to be resolved, in a different way than our normal capitalism consumer heart does. Because if we look at problems, we look about, we only think there's a problem if it's a problem for us. We have to be true and call ourselves out on that. And the resolution of problems means that we get what we want. And that's a worldview, right, that's all around us that we have to be careful about. And so the Augustinian way is going to be, let's look at a conflict and try to do what's best for both sides. People will say, well, Father Crispy, he's not going to accomplish much. How do you fix both sides? Well, that's where we have to get back to what's true. Both sides can always be benefited by what Jesus came to the world to tell us, by love. That we step into, and we can't resolve all the issues and conflicts of the world for both sides, but we can love and bring together both sides And both sides will be better. Both sides will be closer to something that's good for both sides in their heart. And here's the example I want to share with you, and it's one that priests throughout the United States are a little envious of, especially here in our diocese. So the Augustinian University that they do have, and that they do keep, but they try to live this life, and I saw it on Sunday in the biggest way ever here. When we did the masses this Sunday, I think everybody who's got a Villanova sweatshirt wore it. Every Villanova trinket and thing from the gift shops, they must be empty up there, came walking in. There we go. We're still wearing them in the choir. We got them, right? Villanova University, a great, beautiful place. And when I worked and lived in Philadelphia, it was my custom to take my parents there when they visited Fridays, to go to Mass and to have lunch outside on the beautiful campus, to get away from downtown Philly and the heat especially, and go to Villanova. And this is what Villanova did as an Augustinian viewpoint. Because, see, our Pope was a provincial for the Augustinians. How many Augustinians are there in the world? Well, there's some professed, consecrated, over 2,000. And 1,800 of them are priests. There's friars and priests. That's a beautiful thing, but that's smaller than the community of St. Francis by a long shot. So someone from that is now head of all. All of these things about our church are so beautiful, and they should be inspiring to us. So the problem that the Augustinians had is the same problem that all religious communities have. What do we do with all these old priests that are, aging out, or demographics, and we have all these old priests to care for, and they need help. And the same thing was true with the Augustinians. So they had the conflict, and they listened to the priest. And the priests told them where they would like to live when they were retired and infirmed. And the priest must have been the same kind of personality as my dad, who, when I told him it was time for him to move out of his independent apartment at 95, said, "Well, can I move into the dorm at NC State?" The Augustinian priests told their provincial that they would like to be at Villanova. So the order tells the president of Villanova, well, the priests, as they age and infirmed, would like to live on campus. We'll build a retirement home, a little nursing home for them on campus. And the university, looking at the conflict from a different way, said, that's not our mission. Our campus is beautiful, but we have limited resources. There's limited space. There's 500 reasons why we don't want the old priest with us. And they were, didn't welcome that thought. We're here to teach the children, the young adults, to walk with them and to put our resources towards that, and we can't take time for this. I would have a hard time going to NC State and getting them to build a dormitory for the retired priest of Raleigh. They would tell me no, I'm sure, in many ways. But see, the mendicant order, dependent on the people, said, we're going to do it anyway. President of the university, it's an Augustinian university. And if you've ever been to the campus, attached to the student union is a nursing home for their retired priest. You know where our nursing home is for Raleigh? It's in Southern Pines. It's 2 hours from everywhere. And our old priests often fight going because it's a beautiful place in seclusion in the countryside, but it's away from everybody. Their priest that they listened to said, we want to be with our friends and in the midst of something. We want to be able to go to the basketball game and the football game and the baseball game. We want to be with not people of our own age and infirmity, but we want to be with family life. We're priests, and we don't have nephews and nieces to live with. We want to be with the kids. And they built that beautiful nursing home attached to the student union where daily mass is celebrated, and the students wheel down these old priests, religious and professed, and have mass with them. And in that Augustinian way of not trying to make one side the winner or loser, made both sides the winner. Because brothers and sisters, every time I'm there and I see a sophomore or a junior in college spending time and wheeling an old religious person to and from Mass, both of them are winning. Those relationships are nourishing and loving. I might have to switch to be an Augustinian. The other thing that they've done and always done on the middle of that campus, on the beautiful lawn, is where the buried priests are. The white crosses of anybody professed in the Augustinian order from the U.S. province is buried right there. Once again, that's fought with, that'll take up space. That's not good for the emotional development of some people, seeing that life and death right in front of them. There's lots of reasons people can come up with that they don't want to be reminded of our own cycle of life. We very often in our own families don't want to talk to our children about the natural cycle of life that God has given us because we think it's difficult. And yet, in that same Augustinian way, if we look at it, it's a conflict that either side can't win, but if we just bring them together. The truth is, I love our columbarium right here in the courtyard, and our kindergartners and pre-K people walk by it. I love it when we have a funeral at the chapel and the car line spills over, that the parents and students of our school encounter it. Because, see, that was the message of Christ too. Love one another. Because what? Because there's another life we're preparing for. That our faith is so strong that death is real and we can talk about it. That we're not afraid of the future, even if we're 93 and we don't know how long the future is. And that to me, if you're worried about and being taken down in sadness and despair because of the grade of one test or exam in college, and you happen to walk out of your dormitory and see the graves of people who went before you in service, it might bring people back to a reality of what's important. They had a conflict of what to do with the one people and how to protect another people. And the Augustinian way was what? They brought them both together. The old and the young, the infirmed and the healthy. And it's in that beauty they live now. I pray that that pattern might be a new look for all of us in our conflicts around the world and in our own family. That if we bring ourselves together now in this formation that our new Pope has, and that we, as we move forward, have patience with him, and when we look for change and resolutions in the world, we give him time to approach it the way he's been formed. That there's not a problem that one side comes out ahead and the other side is now diminished. Because now we just keep having bigger problems. And that our human nature usually is that we just want it our way. Leo XIV, he follows that great tradition of dignity of workers and people above things and money. That mendicant way of being supported by love and the goodness of others. On the table when we leave Mass today, you'll see a lion. I invite our young people to check him out. Leo, Leone, means lion. It'll be our mascot a little bit for a while. The one that's back there on the table is really soft, and he's safe to pet. So for our young people, check him out. He arrived yesterday. I also checked on our portrait that we want to hang in the church for our new Pope. They've issued one, the official one. It's red and kind of formal. We're at St. Francis. We might wait just a little while to get one more. Get a picture that captures more of that spirit. Pope Francis's portrait will stay and be here. Remember, I just said we're St. Francis. And we want to hold on to the great gift that Pope Francis was to the world and our church, and to us especially. When he took the name of Francis, he always made himself now a home here forever. And he will be present in our office and in my office. I have the picture of Pope Francis in my office with him waving, but he has that look in his eye. And I always hear, when I look at the picture, it's right across from my desk, go out. Jesus is not to be locked in churches or tabernacles, but to go out. And if I sit behind my desk too long, he's up there, go out to the people and take Christ. We look forward to Pope Leo teaching us and giving us inspiration. We join the world in rejoicing that the Holy Spirit has aligned with all of those cardinals that were in the conclave and come out with this person who's really of 3 different cultures: America, South America, and Italy. And we look forward to him to be Augustinian some for us. 2 popes in a row from religious communities, and all of us to grow in that. I'm so thankful for your presence here today. When we celebrated in such a heart-moving way our tribute and thanks to Pope Francis, it just hit my mind that we should have a Mass at the beginning too, and not wait for the death of a Pope, but to start now as he moves forward. I love how people say, he's so young at 69. That shows the demographics of our society as well. So let us be people of goodness. Let us people be inspired by now another new, fresh look of Christ in the world, a fresh look of a Pope who is here to teach us what Jesus told us. Love one another. We have a new Pope. Amen.